right, here we go. Trig Intro 13.3. So if you have a right triangle, the first thing you need to do is you need to pick an angle, right? So I'm going to pick this angle. And you might see, normally we call angles Greek symbols. So you might see like a theta or a beta or whatever, or a lambda, or we could call it by its angle. So if we call this triangle ABC, that could be angle theta, or it could be angle A. Either one's fine, or it could be angle BAC, right? Let's just call it theta for right now, though. So let's talk about the different parts of the triangle, just to review, make sure we're on the same page. This part right here is not touching theta, so this is going to be the opposite leg, right? This part right here is touching theta, so we call that the adjacent leg. And then this part right here, it doesn't matter where theta is, this will always be the hypotenuse. That's why for right now we're doing really simple trig. It will only work for a right triangle because we need to know what the hypotenuse is. Now if we change it up though, and we look at the other angle, beta, right? Now this angle, or this side right here, won't be the adjacent side anymore. Now it will be the opposite of beta. This side will be the adjacent to beta, and then this, no matter where beta is, will always be the hypotenuse. Okay? So the reason why that's important is because I can give you something like this. Let's just work with theta right now. So we have an acronym to learn. And I know you know it, right? We're just making sure everybody's on the same page. Again, so sine stands for opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine stands for adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent stands for opposite over adjacent. So let's go with theta here. Again, the first thing you need to do is you need to pick an angle. So let's actually make this a 3, 4, 5 triangle. We'll call this 3, we'll call this 4, and we'll call this 5. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the sine, the cosine, and the tangent. So the first thing you need to do when doing this, you want to find the sine of, you have to pick an angle. Either pick theta or beta. We're going to pick theta. So the angle, that's called a reference angle, whichever angle you decide to start with, goes inside the parentheses. And a lot of people, they get confused, right? I kind of get confused sometimes too, about what sine actually means. Sine literally means pick an angle and write a ratio, right? Write a ratio of the sides opposite and adjacent. So this is going to be opposite theta. This is going to be adjacent to theta. And this is always going to be the hypotenuse. So sine means use opposite and hypotenuse. So the ratio that we're going to use here are 3 over 5. The cosine of theta, cosine means opposite over adjacent, or sorry, adjacent over hypotenuse. So the adjacent side is going to be 4, and the hypotenuse is going to be 5. And then finally, tangent means do opposite over adjacent, so it would be 3 over 4. Make sense? So far, so good. So those are just writing the ratios. So whenever you see like, I don't know, like the sine of some angle equals 3 over 4, what they're actually telling you right here is they're telling you the side lengths of the opposite side and the hypotenuse. If they're telling you the cosine equals 3 or 4 over 5, they're saying, okay, the opposite side, or the adjacent side, excuse me, is 4, and the hypotenuse is 5. Wait for this to turn over real quick. Try to keep this a shorter video. Choo, 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 come on. You can do it. It always takes so long. And I have to narrate. There we go. So let's do a couple more examples here. Let's say that I know the sine of, we'll call it lambda, equals 5 over, actually, let's do 5 over, 13. the sine of theta, or of lambda, is 5 over 13. Let's go ahead and let's find the cosine, and let's find the tangent. Okay, so my advice to you for this one would be, you need to draw a picture, right? You need to draw a picture. So I'm going to draw a right triangle. I'm going to make this a right triangle. And I know I need to pick an angle, so you can pick whatever angle you want. I'm just going to pick this angle. It doesn't matter which angle you pick. So I know the sine is going to be 5 over 13. And remember, sine, this is the opposite side, this is the adjacent side, and this is the hypotenuse, right? Some people are probably good already. Some people you're like, oh, okay, this is starting to make sense now. Sine means opposite over hypotenuse. So the opposite side has to be 5. And the hypotenuse has to be 13. So they will always, doesn't matter really what the side lengths are, they'll always have their relationship, 5 to 13, 10 to 26, and so on and so forth, right? So what we can do now is we have two sides. We can do the Pythagorean theorem, 5 squared plus the adjacent side squared, we'll call it b squared, equals the hypotenuse squared. And Johnny's yelling at the screen right now, it's a 5, 12, 13. Absolutely, right? This has to be 12. 25, 169, square root of 144 has to be 12. So now that we find the missing side, that's kind of the link here. We can go ahead and say, okay, the cosine is going to be opposite. I keep on doing that. Adjacent over hypotenuse, that's going to be 12 over the hypotenuse, 13. And the tangent of this side is going to be opposite over adjacent, so that's going to be 5 over 12. So the big picture stuff here is that sine, cosine, and tangent, they're made up of two parts. They're made of this reference angle telling you where to start, which angle are we starting with. And then they're telling you the ratio of the sides. Sine means take the opposite over the hypotenuse. Cosine, take the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And tangent, take the opposite over the adjacent. All right, hope that helps.